I want to start out with two very large questions, which is what kind of world do you want to live in? Think about that for a minute, right? Because here are snapshots of our world. What kind of world do you want to live in? And what role can HR play to help us redeem the state of the world? Where's the human inside of human resources? We live in an unprecedented time. Climate catastrophe, social unrest, social justice issues boiling. Um, we've never had such a humanitarian crisis with more refugees afoot ever in our history, right? And probably worse and most vexing, a crisis of truth and meaning. We don't have an objective reality or organizing principle anymore, right? Then we have pandemics on top of that. There's this talk of VUCA, which is this state of vulnerability, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. That it's a war phrase that we used to, after we would destabilize a country, we would say this country has VUCA. But now, with the Surgeon General saying we are suffering an epidemic of loneliness, we are living in VUCA, and anxiety is the emotion of our age. If you just look at the rate of prescriptions of benzodiazepines since the pandemic, you'll see what you're dealing with on a daily basis, right? Why is this relevant to this conversation? Because these are how people come to work every day. And what are your organizations doing to aid them, right? Getting a subscription to Headspace is not enough, ladies and gentlemen, right? At all. That's a bad panacea. But what we see again and again through doomcasting, through everything that's happening in the world, is that there's no they that are going to come save us. We can't count on our governments and our politicians. No offense if you're in politics, do your best. Um, Nonprofits are fighting the good fight. Thank you, all those who are nonprofits. But it's only the private sector that has the scale, the capacity, and everything else to make meaningful global change at scale. And that's what we're calling on. So instead of disrupting HR and thinking about benefits and the administrative side and the strategic side with transformation, what if we really disrupt the organization? What if we disrupt capitalism? And what we see is that HR departments can become the department of humanity, where we help people to flourish. We teach them life skills, give them addiction counseling, teach them credit restoration, right? And from that, the organizations themselves set out and articulate a purpose where they're meeting a social good as well as an economic good. It's no longer a profit at any cost, but it's a profit for a habitat we can all share, a culture in which we can all thrive, and true freedom and getting back to a sense of awe, wonder, psychological safety, and trust. You might think this is crazy, but a lot of you know the term psychological safety from the Google Aristotle project, right? That's what, when they decoded high performance teams, that was the number one tenet. But what else was on there is meaning through their work and purpose through their organizations. And without this return to purpose, we'll never get to the true meaning of capitalism, which is human flourishment. Adam Smith wrote Wealth of Nations, right? We get the invisible hand. We talk a lot about the profit motive and this patriarchal kind of view. He also wrote a book called The Theory of Moral Sentiment, which was all about the community and the egalitarian aspects of how we take care of one of each other in a community that has been ignored by how we think about business. So I invite you to think about what role can HR play in terms of what we call this epic pivot that needs to happen inside of business. And the trick here is that by moving to this purpose model, the future is human, the future is forward focused, and the future is sustainability. The trick that I mentioned is that the companies that do this, the value-based companies that you read about, such as Patagonia or Ben and Jerry's, they outperform their profit-only competitors somewhere between 8x and 13x to 1. They don't suffer the vicissitudes of the great resignation. They retain their highest and best talent. They want to stay there because they're giving meaning, purpose in their lives. I could keep going, but I just want to give you this bold and grand invitation to be bold, be purposeful, and think about what are we doing as HR? And how do we take it away from the Industrial Revolution, which made us look as humans as cogs in a machine, instead of getting into what can we do to serve our people who are living in this world? Thank you so much.